2020, an agenda, and I'm going to leave it up to Ms. Molly to do. There she is. There she is. Tell us what you need to know.
Okay, so this is the board meeting where we present the beginning budget for the 2021 school year, fiscal year. And we have the budget document with you. You were emailed a summary of the budget document. This is the more detailed one for you. Also, for the Finance Committee, we've got the PowerPoint that you're used to seeing up on the screen that George has always presented. I've got PowerPoint slides that I just want to review with you quickly in regards to the budget for this year, just kind of summarizing some key important points. So starting off, total expenditures for the 2020-21 fiscal year is estimated in this budget to be about $78,746 and $78,746,608. Total estimated ending fund balance of June 30, 2021 is estimated to be $28,793,683. That is a total fund balances combined for all of our general fund and special revenue funds. This does not include balances that we may have in capital projects funds, debt service funds, or our internal service funds. Under Local Government Budget Act, we're only required to adopt budgets for the general fund and special revenue funds. Okay, on page 2 of that PowerPoint, just kind of showing you the historical trail of our unassigned fund balance and expenditures. As you can see, for this fiscal year at the very bottom, that's a 10-year history. We're estimating our ending unassigned fund balance to be approximately $8.4 million at the end of June 30, 2021. With total expenditures being about the same as they were this past fiscal year at around $51 million in total. Again, this is representative of the general fund in regards to unassigned fund balance and the expenditures in relation to general fund, spending out of the general fund only. So unassigned fund balance is estimated to go up to 16.5%, and with that being said, that exceeds our 15% marker that we would like to, that bond rating agencies like to see our fund balances at, our unassigned fund balance at for bond rating purposes. Just a note in regards to that fund balance, well, why has it now grown? Well, there's a couple of things. As you know, the election happened where the half-cent sales tax was passed by voters this past month, and that is attributed a lot to that. There have been some budget cutting going on by district staff in reducing positions across the district, and that has helped a tremendous amount, a lot. Also, we've received increases in the MFP funding for this past year. Not that we had an increase in students, we did not. We had a decrease in students, but we did have a change in the makeup of our students where we had more at-risk students, more special needs students that qualified us for more funding. And then also we had a reduction in our sales tax base. Not so much in collections, but the underlying base that generates the sales tax revenues that we collect actually declined, and that, of course, was attributed to oil and gas. So those factors all working together with the MFP, that caused us to get additional funding in the MFP, whereas we would not otherwise because of our loss of students. So the next slide shows combined sales tax fund balances over the historical period, 10-year historical period. We are estimating that fund balances at the end of June 30, 2021, our sales tax funds will be around 11.7, right at 11.8 million. And you can see the trend, how that's dropped. And of course, as we've shared with you, our sales tax funds have been running, we've been paying out more than we had been collecting in sales tax. It's hard to make that change whenever sales tax collections drop as drastically as they did in the last few years. But hopefully we have hit a bottom, and hopefully in our sales tax report that's going to be evidence of a bottom, but you just don't know. We kind of thought that when oil and gas drops, it couldn't drop some more. Well, it had a little bit more room to give, and it's still dropping, but there's some other areas that are actually increasing outside of oil and gas that's helping us out. So that's what we're projecting to see in our sales tax performance for this next year. Okay, the next slide is just showing you what the distributions have been over the last 10 years of our sales from our sales tax funds for our employee salary supplements for our certificated and support staff. And I did not edit that, but as you can see, the certificated staff this past year, $8,825, and that is actually not correct because we reduced that amount by $800 on the June check, and so that should be $8,025 on that slide. And then support staff by half that amount, it should be $4,013. So you can see the trend there in June of 2015, where we paid that one-time supplement for the increase in oil and gas at that point, and then in fiscal year 17-18, where we increased the salary supplement in November and in May by $500 to pay out additional leftover funds that remained. Okay, we just kind of rolled that back on our June check this past year. Okay, retirement rates, those have really kind of been leveling off and are flat for this year. We see that for teachers' retirement, their rate is decreasing from 26% employer contribution rate to 25.8%. Very nominal impact on our budget. Very nominal impact on that. And also, school employees' retirement system decreased from 29.4% to 28.7%. Okay, and then again, just want to stress some of the concerns whenever we go forward, and I think we are on a good track in trying to address some of the fiscal issues that we do have. But you know, the state MFP funding is not guaranteed for the future. We need to grow and increase the number of students that we have. I think that's everywhere in the state. And we may have some come in, I don't know, with the storm passing through. Maybe our enrollment will increase this year. But it will help tremendously in a lot of ways, especially in funding, if we can grow our student enrollment. MFP, we have been experiencing a decline in student enrollment that's impacted our MFP. In past years, the MFP, we do have a reduction of our local monies that have, of MFP funds representative of local taxes that are generated per student in our parish that actually is deducted from our MFP and sent to other districts who actually enroll children who still live in Lincoln Parish, but they choose to enroll in another school district, be it a charter school, another school district, or a state-approved school. They get that additional funding. Okay, other concerns that we have going forward, you know, we made the change to Blue Advantage. You know, David Sharpenshay with Brown & Brown is looking into our self-insured plan and restructuring it and how we can save more costs in that plan going forward, especially after we did change with Blue Advantage. We have kind of leveled off our increases in our health insurance program funds, but we are looking at those costs to continue rising. Healthcare costs always continue to rise, so we need to be working on our next plan, and hopefully he can bring something to us in the next meeting that we can present and discuss. Again, the local and state economy, national economy, rural economy, we don't know where that's going to be going. We just hope that our local tax base stays strong. We can't guarantee what our employee salary supplements will be in the future. We want to protect the supplements that are included in monthly salary, in their monthly salaries at all costs. But the extra payments that are paid in November and in May, after going through this past year, we know that we need to be conservative in what we can say that we can pay out. So it's going to depend on what the collections are up until that point before we can commit to say that we're going to continue or increase or decrease a salary supplement amount. So hopefully in the next month or two, we'll start seeing a trend. Hopefully it'll continue the way it's going and improve, and we'll be able to sustain our payments. In summary, just our financial outlook. Again, health plan and premiums, we know that that's been kind of constant right now. COVID-19, the shutdown has really slowed down those doctor visits, but we know around the corner that those are fixing to ramp back up. All of those elective procedures and office visits have been put off are now going to start coming, increasing as we figure out how to live in our pandemic world. And so those costs will be coming back to the plan, and hopefully the monies that we've been saving will help to ease that burden whenever we start seeing those costs rise. Like I said, we have been reducing staff. It's been approximate. The number changes every day just because staff changes so much in the summertime in the school district. But we've estimated so far about 27 positions that we've reduced, and that's created savings in our general fund of approximately $1.1 million. That's on top of the increase in MFP funding that we received. That's additional funds. We are restructuring how we make certain expenditures across the board, across all of our funds. We have so many funds that are used to fund the operations of the school district. So it's kind of like we're grabbing here and grabbing there and seeing what we have here, and we've got to move money around there. And so we just want to make sure that we try to set it up to where we're trying not to move so much money around all the time. And that's really and truly my goal, to make funds independent, sustainable within themselves, and not relying on other funds to fund it. But health insurance costs is a tremendous cost, and we're trying to work through that now. And hopefully we'll have some solutions on the fiscal side and how we're structuring it all, in-house on our end, and then with Brown & Brown bringing a plan to us for this next year. So I know it's a lot of information. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to go over it with you when we get down in the nitty-gritty of the budget if you want to. And I'll be glad to do that. There's just a lot of information in there, but I would encourage you to please read the budget letter. It starts on page, I think it starts on page 3, in your book. And if you would look over to page 5, just real quickly, a summary of our revenues for all funds that have been budgeted in this budget document. You can see we have a total of $8,320,261 in total sources that are available to fund the operations of the school system, excluding capital projects, excluding debt service funds and school funds, student activity funds. And so of that amount, MFP makes up about 39% of our total revenue sources. Sales taxes, including this partial year of the new sales tax, is making up about 25% of those revenue streams, and then property taxes are making up about 20%. So that just kind of gives you a picture of all of the sources that are available to the school system to be able to fund its operations from a taxpayer standpoint. Okay? And so I would like to point out to you on page 17 of the book, this is the summary that you're used to seeing, just really consolidating all of our general funds and all of our special revenue funds together on one page, where it's just a quick look where you see where we are. In total, we are estimating, again, revenues $82 million, expenditures at $78.7 million, total sources and uses, that's exchanging monies between funds, indirect cost, and then about $2.5 million of that number at the bottom of your page is actually funds that are deducted from the MFP and sent to those other LEAs in the state that are educating children of Lincoln Parish. And then our excess in total, when we combine all funds, if you kind of look down through there and see the different excess and deficiencies that are being reported or budgeted in our various funds, in total they net out to be, to the good, $835,965. And again, with that total combined ending fund balance of 28.8%. I'm sorry, 28.8 million. For all funds combined. I would like to point one more page out, and then I'll wrap it up. Okay, on page 19 and 20, this is another view of that page that we just reviewed, and it just breaks down column by column the total general fund, special revenue fund by our functional areas of operation. But if you flip over to page 20, you will see, and I know this chart isn't in color for you, but it shows you that representation in a different layout where it breaks it down to our spending categories, which is for like salaries of employees, employee benefits, purchase professional services, supplies, property, purchase property services, the various different categories. And so, as you can see when you look at that chart, the largest amount of our expenditures are in employee salaries and benefits. And that total, whenever you look at the chart, I know it's grayed out, but salaries make up 51.5% of our total operating budget. The related benefits, which includes health insurance costs, is 27.8%, and that includes costs for retiree, sustaining retiree benefits as well for the health plan. So combined, we are saying that we have about 79.1% of the total operating budget that's actually being spent on human capital. So anytime we talk budget cuts, you know, that's where it is. It's in the staffing, it's in the numbers. You see what we're spending on supplies in total, $7.2 million. A lot of that's technology. A lot of that money's going out to schools directly to help them fund activities at their site, and materials and supplies and purchases, textbooks, etc. For them. Okay, I hope this is good information, and look through it. It's kind of go fund by fund throughout the book and describe all the activities that occur in each fund. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to answer those. Mr. Mitchell, I'll turn it over to you. I'm sorry, Ms. Bass.
Concur and listen, and I'd like to make a motion to accept this budget as printed. Okay. Second. Debbie Linda Henderson and Debbie Abrams. All in favor, say aye.